Enjoying the show? You can help others find it and enjoy it too by giving us a 5-star rating or review. If you feel like reaching out to us with a question or comment, you can send us an email at mywifetherd@gmail.com. And don't forget to visit our website at mywifethedietitian.com, as well as our social media pages. We're on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. Enjoy the show. It's Rob and Sandra from My Wife the Dietitian, and this is Nutrition Nuggets.
Hey, Rob.
Hey, Sandra.
Today we're doing a question from a listener.
Oh, fun.
My son doesn't eat his greens. Does it matter? Why are they important?
Oh, fair enough. Sounds like most kids and some adults.
Yeah, it is. And actually, it's interesting. I did a prenatal group yesterday, and we talked about the fact that if the mom, when they're pregnant, eats broccoli and cauliflower and spinach and cruciferous vegetables like leafy greens, those, sulfur-containing smelling veggies, that will actually help the baby eventually be more receptive to the taste of those vegetables.
Yeah, that's neat. I remember talking about that one other time too. It's like you're training their taste buds to like them or something, right?
Yeah, it's not so foreign, and it's really interesting, eh?
Yeah, I remember growing up and like eat your greens. It was always like the message at the dinner table, and I think a couple things happen with that. Like we've always said, it's if you have to like persuade someone to do something, then they kind of put up a wall because they think, well, why are you trying to persuade me? Like, what's so bad about this that, have to be rewarded or encouraged to eat it? Like it's kind of a bad habit to start, and we all do it, as parents. We all want our kids to eat. So that's where it starts, I think. And then it just kind of blossoms from there. But yeah, why do we need to eat our greens? That's kind of what we're going to get into today, right?
Yeah, like what's in them and what's the importance of greens, leafy greens? Mm-hmm. Why do we need them and how do we incorporate them?
Can we define what greens are? Mm-hmm. Is it just leafy greens? Or are we talking about like green peppers and cucumbers and avocados and all those things? Like, do they all fall under the title of greens?
Ooh, good question.
Or is there something more like a more specific grouping?
I guess it's all like
they're all important, right? But like when someone says eat your greens, which greens are they referring to?
That's a good question.
Okay. Do you want to think about that for a minute?
Do you know we talk about the rainbow of colors?
I sure do.
Yes. So you could actually consider shades of green as different colors in the rainbow.
Oh, interesting.
For your plate.
Okay.
So say, for instance, cucumber versus spinach versus broccoli versus cabbage versus apple, green pepper. They're all different types of greens. And they would all be considered green, and they could be different.
So it's not a black and white answer.
No, it's not at all.
No. 50 Shades of Green.
Yes, exactly. That's about it. Because green provides plenty of fiber and beneficial plant compounds, the phytochemicals, the polyphenols.
But don't all vegetables offer, like all colorful vegetables offer those things?
They do. So leafy greens in particular have chlorophyll.
Okay.
Which, you look outside in the spring and summer and the lush plant life, it's all green, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
that's chlorophyll.
Especially where we live. It's very lush and up here, Pacific Northwest.
Yeah, so that's part of it. And do you remember we talked about nitric oxide?
Mm-hmm. I remember that.
Okay, because that's the other thing is nitroglycerin was developed, and it actually helps open up the blood vessels. And later they discovered that nitric oxide is produced by every cell of the body, and it's vital for blood vessel health.
Oh, and that's why that's the compound that makes nitroglycerin do what it does.
Yeah, the nitro.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah, and actually, so eating leafy greens, it helps keep our blood vessels healthy. So it vasodilates, like it widens the blood vessels. It relaxes the blood vessels. It helps the blood flow increase. And do you remember early on in our podcast, like original intro, I think you were talking about spinach.
Oh, yeah.
Does it make it bigger
Yes.
Yeah. Well, that's kind of part of it is
Are we finally going to answer that question?
helps with blood flow.
So yes.
It helps with reducing the risk of erectile dysfunction. It helps keep our whole cardiovascular health strong.
Exactly. It wasn't just a joke. It wasn't just me being silly. See? If you've listened this long, then here you go. You're finally getting your answer.
Right. Yes. But I mean, there's so many benefits. Like the green leafy vegetables are just key. They're like one of the most important elements in our diet. And you know about the Mind Diet, episode 14. We talked all about...
I was there.
You were there?
Yeah,
okay.
I was there.
Perfect. And it's the combination of the DASH diet versus Mediterranean, or like the combination of Mediterranean and DASH, the dietary approaches to stop hypertension. So that's episode 14. And one of the elements is daily leafy green vegetables.
Right.
Right? And then one other vegetable. So, I think it's really important to try to incorporate lots of different colors, like 5 different colors of vegetables and fruits in the day. So you're getting different, like a varied vitamins, minerals, phytochemicals. Remember those phytochemicals or plant chemicals? And they come from the actual color of the plant. Like tomato has lycopene, and we know that is a different benefit to human health and different cells in our body than lutein, which is in green leafy vegetables that are good for our eyes.
That's why we need to eat a variety, because you're getting different things from each one.
You got it.
Makes sense.
Yeah. Not to mention, the folate. So super important to prevent neural tube defects and spina bifida in the first 3 months of pregnancy. So making sure that women have enough folate or folic acid. It's in a prenatal vitamin. It's been a lot of the food supply has been supplemented with folic acid so that it reduces the risk of neural tube defects in the population.
And is that something specific to green veggies?
Yeah, like green vegetables are loaded with folate.
Okay.
Yeah.
So there are ones that are specific to green, like you said, the chlorophyll, the nitric oxide.
Yeah.
Those are specific to green.
Yeah. Lutein, for the eyes, and is so important. Vitamin C, a lot of green leafy vegetables have a good amount of vitamin C.
Okay, yeah.
And so that's really important, especially if someone's anemic or has low iron. Having a source of vitamin C with your iron food, so a heme base, like an animal base, or a non-heme, a plant-based iron-rich food. So having that vitamin C-rich food with that will help your gut absorb the iron better.
Okay, gotcha.
And also, we did a whole episode with Katie Dodd, dietitian, about vitamin K and blood thinners.
Right.
Like warfarin and other blood thinners that people might be on if they've had issues with blood clotting. So another thing with green leafy vegetables is that they're high in vitamin K.
Okay.
And that helps the blood clot.
Right. So I'm kind of getting the impression that like they're in a class of their own. Like if you had to eat just one vegetable, you'd be getting the most bang for your buck nutrition wise from something that's green leafy, because they have a whole host of nutrients that we need.
Yeah.
Right,
Potassium, magnesium, calcium even. So people that don't eat dairy or they're avoiding milk products because of lactose, or then having broccoli and other greens will help get a little bit of that calcium.
Right.
Vitamin A. So that's a fat-soluble vitamin. That's in green vegetables, and beta carotene and vitamin B6 and vitamin E and carotenoids. So, it's just, there's so much benefit. And the other thing is just, we've talked about cruciferous vegetables, right?
Oh yeah, lots.
So those can include Brussels sprouts or cabbage, broccoli, arugula, bok choy. So all of those cruciferous vegetables offer even more protection to the body, because we know that they help reduce risk of breast cancer. they help almost detoxify the blood. It helps with our liver. So there's sulfur in those vegetables, and the sulfur activates an enzyme that helps excrete harmful chemicals.
Oh, neat.
So they're really important. And then, just the fact that green leafy vegetables have some fiber. So you're chewing them. They've got it helps slow down the meal if you think about it.
Right.
Like it takes effort to chew.
Mm-hmm.
So we did an episode all about chewing,
right.
Episode 15, and the importance of chew your food. And, you think of anything with fiber is really important for our whole digestion. And it helps with almost like keeping the colon from having substances stay around too long to create the cancer causing
yeah, it's like Drano, but healthy for your body, right? It just like flushes out all the bad stuff and keeps you things moving.
Yeah. And we know that like a high fiber diet can help the body excrete excess estrogen through the poop. So that's why there's a link between high fiber and lower breast cancer risk.
Okay.
And also the fiber shields you from the colon and rectal cancer.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So it helps with bulking up the stool, and then it pushes it through so you're getting rid of it. It's not sitting around the GI tract too long.
Right.
And reduces the amount of time during which the potential cancer-causing substances are in contact with the body.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So there's lots of awesome reasons, and it just sets up kids for success in the future if we think the eventual goal for everybody is to increase the variety of their diet and increase the diversity of plant foods.
Mm-hmm.
We talked about trying to get like 30 different vegetables and plant foods over the week. So having your green leafy vegetables will help with that.
Yeah, exactly.
And you don't have to just have raw. You can have cooked. It can be in foods. It can be in a smoothie. We'll talk about different practical ways to get some green leafies in your diet.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we tried a different recipe. I've never really been a fan of Brussels sprouts my entire life, and I'm in my 50s now, so that's a lot of years of not liking Brussels sprouts. And the other day we made some based on something we heard on our own podcast. It was a Jamie Oliver recipe, and one of the guests we had said that they follow his recipe, and we tried it that way, and it was amazing. And it was basically you dice them up into little bits and you fry them in a frying pan with some salt and pepper. And they were so good, like the best Brussels sprouts I've ever had. And, like trying things differently in a new way, it really helps. It'll get you to eat them. So if you don't like something, look on the internet and see if there's other ways you can prepare them that might make them a bit more tasty or.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, it's tricky when there's picky eaters in the family, and there's a lot of discussion about certain specific foods around the dinner table. That actually makes it worse, I think.
Yeah, it just makes it complicated.
It becomes an issue, and then it's like it's highlighted. And then if someone says, oh yeah, Johnny doesn't like spinach, and then that's something that's reinforced in Johnny's mind over time, and they identify with not liking spinach for their life. And
exactly.
that, it reduces their chance of including spinach in different foods and different meals over their lifetime, which is not great because spinach is so good for you, or, other leafy greens. It doesn't have to be spinach. If spinach or kale is too strong as a flavor, then that's okay. There's other ways to get it, like broccoli, like Brussels sprouts you mentioned, bok choy.
What's interesting with leafy greens too? I made this dinner the other night, and it was one of those packaged, like the HelloFresh boxed meals that we got. And it came with a whole bag of spinach. Like it was like probably 5 cups of raw spinach. And I dumped it into it was like a casserole kind of thing. Dumped it in, and it just, the casserole just shrinks it all down. And like you can make it you can put it in food and not really know what's there. If you don't like spinach, or you have someone in your house that doesn't like spinach, that was a lot of spinach we put in there, but you don't notice it in the final meal. It's just kind of like a little green dot,
Yeah.
And so, you can kind of sneak in a lot of spinach without anyone knowing. And the same with smoothies too. I mean, that's the beauty of spinach. It really it shrinks, and you can kind of work it in there without really knowing.
Yeah, absolutely. No, that's awesome. It really shrinks up. If you think about, if you get a block of frozen spinach in the grocery store in the freezer section, it's like a brick. And that it's probably about 5 or 6 cups of spinach right there.
Yeah, it's crazy. And that's the same with any leafy, like bok choy or any kind of leafy green that you're going to add to that you're going to cook. It's going to get just so tiny. So yeah, you can throw a ton in without really it being noticeable.
Yeah. And maybe, even just like a stir fry with bok choy with some soy sauce, maybe adding peanut butter for like a peanut sauce kind of flavor. That might be something that your family members like, and your son. Don't harp on if they don't like it. Eventually they will probably learn to like it, or, it's one of those things, I think we've mentioned before, it takes about 16 introductions of the same food in different forms for someone to truly decide if they like it or not. And as we mentioned at the start, there's so many different green vegetables. So it doesn't have to be spinach. It doesn't have to be broccoli. But, those are really good ones. Like broccoli is one of the most amazing and nutritionally powerful green vegetables out there.
Yeah, it totally is.
Yeah, it's considered the best plant food overall when ranking essential nutrients in food form. But, you might have better luck with orange vegetables. We did a whole episode on skin health and beta carotene and orange vegetables. It was in the immune episode 3. So people can refer back to that. But the thing with the orange vegetables, they tend to be a bit sweeter. Like you think sweet potato or squash or pumpkin might be flavors that kids will more readily accept in their meals. And so that would be a way to get the beta carotene and some of the other important nutrients. And then, keep trying different green vegetables over time. It doesn't have to all happen tomorrow. It can be a process. And it's just really important that kids are exposed to these different flavors and that they can learn to enjoy them in different forms. Like we said, it could be in a smoothie, or it could be in a soup or a stew. It could be baked kale, so like kale chips, right? So there's lots of different ways.
Exactly. So the orange vegetables are like a gateway vegetable.
Yeah, they're exactly, because they are sweeter, and kids tend to accept like sweet potatoes, for instance.
Maybe that's where like the dangling the carrot
came
from, right?
That's right.
Yes, you're
what you're doing right
them.
now is with one of our kitties, because the cat is like totally walking all over where we're recording. They always do. They come out right when we're recording. It's kind of funny.
Exactly. They like to come and pester us.
Yes. Yeah. So hopefully that answers a question about why are greens important? Does it matter? And how to kind of start the journey to increasing the variety in the meals and introducing different vegetables, including different green vegetables.
Yeah, exactly. We'll do another episode on some different ways you can use different greens, because that's part of the problem too, is people just don't know what to do other than make a salad. So we'll share some of the things that we do and that we've heard about, and like I said, we'll do that in a future episode. So look for that. So you can also check out our website. There's lots of ideas on there. We've got lots of different blog articles on a whole host of different things from a whole host of different people. Lots of guests write articles for us, and we do some of our own as well. So check that out. Lots of great ideas there. You can also sign up for our newsletter. There's great ideas coming every week to your email from us. So that's something free to sign up for on the website. And the website is mywifethedietitian.com. You can also email us your questions, your comments, ideas for the show, questions like we had today, questions from listeners. We do that all the time. We're happy to answer your questions. So The email is mywifetherd@gmail.com. So we'd love to hear your comments. You can also find us on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. You can comment there. You can send us questions through there too if you want, if that's easier. And don't forget to rate and review the show. That's super helpful. It keeps things moving forward for us here.
You know what I find is when people don't necessarily listen to podcasts, they do know YouTube. So they look it up on YouTube. I show them on YouTube, and then they can listen to the episode. And then if they really like it, then they can look for it on their podcast provider.
Yeah, that's an easy way to share too. I find that the YouTube's a bit easier to share than some of the podcast players. So we encourage you to share with your friends, your family, strangers, whoever you think might benefit from listening to what we're putting down here. So go ahead and press the share button. So that is it for this week. We will be back on Monday with a full episode. So in the meantime, have a great week, everyone.
Thanks, Rob.
Thanks for joining us today on My Wife the Dietitian. If you like what you heard, don't be shy. Leave us a comment or review, and be sure to share our podcast with your friends. If you'd like to hear more, hit that subscribe button. You can also follow us on our social media pages for updates, episode trailers, and other odds and ends. For more info and links on what we discussed on today's episode, check the show notes. We'll be back next week with another informative and fun-filled episode.